Welcome to Addicted to Busy, the podcast specifically for overachieving property managers who are dying for a little more work-life balance in their lives. Each week, we dismantle all the BS that holds us back. You'll learn how to nix those tricky, self-sabotaging habits so that you have the time, energy, and motivation to create what you really want in life. If you're looking to shift from overcommitted to overjoyed, this is the podcast for you. Let's do this. Now, your host, Anna Havliana.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Addicted to Busy. It has been a minute since I've done an episode, mostly because life has been extremely busy, hence the name of this podcast. Over the last couple months, I've been doing some traveling. I've also been doing some in-person presentations as well. And now we are headed into the holidays, which for me anyways, has always been the busiest time of year. Between trying to get together with family and friends and various networking events, work parties, during this time of year, my social calendar gets very busy. Now, one of the reasons why I have this business and this podcast is because at one point of my life, I was extremely overcommitted to the point where it was affecting my health and also affecting my relationships. So I'm pretty passionate about sharing the lessons that I have learned so that others don't have to experience the same thing. I can recall a time in my life where I was so overscheduled and so overbooked that I once started bawling about a bowl of pineapple. I wish I could say I was joking, but that happened at a time when I was getting up at 4:30 every other morning to coach CrossFit classes alongside trying to get my own workouts in, working a full-time job, being involved on an executive board for a local industry, amongst trying to have a social life and make time for family and friends, and hopefully have time for music or hobby of some sort. And I remember there was a week where once again, I'd overbooked myself. My partner and I were supposed to go to a group gathering with a group of friends who I love very much. And we were all asked to bring something to contribute to the meal. At the time, I was so overloaded that I truly did not have enough time to go to the grocery store, buy a pineapple, cut it, and bring it to a party. And you would think at that point that I would have learned that maybe I need to look at my schedule and how much I'm saying yes to. But sadly, it still took me a couple years after that to figure it out. So anyways, I speak about this because I know that at one point in my life, my people pleasing and perfectionism was really getting in the way of me enjoying my life. And I don't say this to brag, but I love my life. I have an amazing family. I have the best support group and best group of friends that a girl could ask for. I have a career that I love. I have a job that allows me the time and space to be able to work on this business. And I have plenty of hobbies that I'm passionate about. But going into this time of year, if history is any indicator, there is a high probability that I could get overwhelmed again. I could say yes to too many things, and then all of a sudden, the joy of all those things goes away, and it's replaced with anxiety and overwhelm and exhaustion and putting myself on the back burner. So I share all of this to let you know that if you're resonating with any of it, you're not alone. And there are very simple things that you can do in order to get out of this. This constant overscheduling of myself is something that I have greatly improved, but also something that I'm still currently struggling with. So I also share this and post this podcast in an effort to keep myself accountable to what I know my energetic and financial limits are. We're now in the thick of holiday season, and I've already had to make some choices that were difficult. First and foremost, I had to choose to not spend Thanksgiving with my immediate family because I'm currently working on saving up to go on a trip to Ireland, hopefully with both of my parents. And that was hard. It was hard being home during the holidays, knowing that they were together and having fun and playing games, and I wasn't a part of that. But when I really look into the future and what's important, it's very important to me to do something memorable with my parents and to go somewhere that I've never been before. As I look forward into how quickly my calendar is filling up with holiday parties, both for work and for my friends, I can already tell you that as an introvert, it's starting to cut into the time that I need in order to recharge. Now, for those of you listening, we all have different energetic limits. For me, it's really only been within the last 4 to 5 years that I've started to figure out that despite me having extroverted tendencies, I'm actually quite introverted in the sense that I need alone time to recharge. Whereas other people, they get their energy from being around others and being in places where there's a lot going on. Now, whether you are introverted or not, if you do feel a little bit of pre-holiday anxiety around how busy it's going to get, I want to give you a tool today that you can use right away to help you manage this. Now, the thing that I will say is that this is a tool to be used. It is not a one size fits all. So I'll explain to you what it is, but then I really want you to play around with the idea that you can try this technique in any way, shape, or form that works for you. When I work with clients, we talk all the time about how there is no one size fits all as it pertains to time management and time blocking, but that we do need to try out everything that we can until we find what clicks in our life. As you're listening, if you try this out and it seems like it's working for you, I do want to encourage you to check out the time blocking course, which is now live. I invite you to check out the full time blocking course. You can get access by going to annahabelyana.com/time block to get signed up. So, diving in, one of the things that we explore in the time blocking course is that we want to use our calendar not just as a place to mark down all of the appointments and places that we need to be, but we also want to use the calendar as a visual representation of where our time is already claimed. If you're a manager who constantly finds themselves working into the late hours of the night, this could be that missing piece of reclaiming more of your time in the evenings. Oftentimes, and by no fault of our own, we say yes to things because we truly believe that we're going to have the time and capacity to do those things. Or in some cases, we're also saying yes because we simply have some FOMO. However, if we are unaware of how full our week already is, we might find ourselves saying yes to things that we don't actually have the space for. And when you do this, this is how you find yourself crying over a bowl of pineapple. There's this quote from Byron Katie where she says, "When you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. You cannot win an argument with reality." And many of you are fighting against the reality that there are only 24 hours in a day and that most of you need at least 7 to 8 hours of those to rest. So if you want to get out of this cycle, you have to be aware of two things, okay? The first thing is commitment awareness. Said another way, what is everything that you are already committed to? And the second thing is data-informed decision making. So said another way, how long is it going to take you to complete the things that you said yes to? When you use your calendar as a visual tool, you can see with your own eyes where your time is already committed. So you're going to have a clearer understanding of what time you do or do not have available. The other thing that you might start to notice here, and this is really fascinating when clients start to analyze this themselves, is that you might notice that the way that you're spending your time or the amount of time that you're spending on certain things doesn't necessarily align with your values or what you want for your life. So, putting your tasks on the calendar, again, helps you see how much time you do and don't have. And then it also helps you evaluate whether or not you like the way that you're spending your time. So, this is a tip that I want to give you for the holidays is when you commit to something, I want you to block out all of the time on your calendar that that event is going to take. So I'll give you an example. One of the organizations that I'm involved in, we are doing a holiday potluck.
Okay, so what are all the things that I need to do in order to get ready for this potluck? It seems pretty simple, right? So, first of all, I have the potluck itself blocked out on my calendar, but there are two other things that I need to do. Actually, as I'm saying this, there's three other things that I need to do. So, I need to decide what I'm going to make and go get the groceries to make that thing. And then I need to have the time in order to make the dish that I'm going to share. So, yes, I have potluck on Thursday written on my calendar, but there are also a few other things that I've put on my calendar. I've actually blocked off time to go to the grocery store, and I have blocked off time to make the dish. Now, to some of you, this may seem a little bit over the top or like it's too much, but what I want to argue here is that you're going to spend your time doing those things anyway. So, what harm is it going to do to just simply put it on the calendar so that you can see how much time is left? This is the whole point of the exercise, is to start using the calendar as kind of a gauge for how much time you do or don't have left, right? If you think about it, when we are managing money, you use a budget. When you are managing fuel, you use a gauge. When you're measuring electricity, you use a meter. We have to have a way to measure our usage of time. Now, if you're completely new to time blocking, I don't encourage that you do this activity for every single thing that you have going on. Start with one activity, try it out, and see how you feel. Because a couple of things are going to happen once you start doing this more consistently. First of all, you will start to see when your time is running out. Now, again, for those of you who resonate as either people pleasers and or overachievers who tend to take on too much, this is important. You need to start to see when you are running low on time. Because what we really want to prevent is losing time for taking care of ourselves. I know for me, when I was really at the height of my burnout, that meant that I was typically skipping exercise and also not getting a full night worth of sleep. That ended up causing so many other problems for me that now I know more than anything, I have to protect my sleep and I have to protect my activity level, because I know that when I'm well rested and when I have moved my body, I'm a nicer, kinder, more alert human who can do a better job in her career. Now, to be completely truthful, when you do this exercise, you are likely to feel some sense of time scarcity. You might start to feel like there's not enough time to get everything done, or that you're going to have to make sacrifices. And I would tell you that is absolutely correct. And that is a reality that you're going to have to face. Like I said earlier, Byron Katie's quote, "When you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time." The holiday season is challenging, but let us not forget that the holiday season is supposed to be about love and connection. But if you are burned out and exhausted, you're not going to be able to feel what this season is all about. It can be tempting to want to say yes to everything and to be a part of everything. But if you're the type of person who is always running from one activity to the next and just trying to keep up with everything, and you feel like you're just barely treading water, I'll invite you to consider that maybe this is the year where you try something new, where you set a couple boundaries, and where you intentionally say no to a few activities so that you can be fully present for the ones that truly matter to you. Now, that's not easy. I can tell you that firsthand, that you'll have some FOMO, you'll have some things that you miss out on. Like I mentioned, it really wasn't easy to say no to seeing my family for Thanksgiving and missing out on my nephew playing hockey, but it's what had to be done in order to make sure that I could be fully present and not fully exhausted during the holidays. If you really want to dive into this over the holiday season or the start of the new year, I'm going to invite you again to come check out the time blocking course. You can find it at annahabelyana.com/time block. You can get 50% off the course with the coupon code podcast. In this course, we talk not only about how to time block, but we go over all of the additional skills and traits that you're going to need in order to be more successful at time blocking.
Listen, you can get on YouTube right now and you can find plenty of videos on how to time block. But what those videos aren't going to do for you is they're not going to talk about how to time block within our industry. Within the course itself, we talk about some of the bigger foundational blocks on how to make it work. Things like how to manage competing priorities and how to have an emergency response plan for those days when shit literally hits the fan. We talk specifically about how to identify the habits that are wasting our time, and then we do the hard work of overriding those habits with new ones that actually work for you. Right now, we're teaching the course live, so if you sign up now, you're also going to be able to participate in weekly office hours where you can come and get one-to-one attention on the issues that you're facing as far as it pertains to time management within the property management industry. So again, my goal for you is that you feel confident that you can manage your time in a way that allows you to fully partake in the holidays and do it in a way where you're not exhausted and burned out. So if that interests you, come check out the time blocking course. Again, that's AnnaHavliana.com. That's ANNAJAV as in Vixen, ELLANA.com/time block. All right, y'all, I love you so much. Happy holidays. Keep going.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Addicted to Busy. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.